essentially simply to build on the point that Councillor Sunkel made a moment ago about the impact of what we're proposing on the rural communities. But can I get there in this way? We're being urged today to tell the truth. It seems like a good rule and something we ought to try to do all the time, I would have thought. The truth is that 10 years ago, this council, like most of the other regional councils in New Zealand at that time, had no rules limiting the discharge of nitrate. On the other hand, it is also true we have had rules limiting the discharge of nitrate in place since the Land and Water Regional Plan, a set of rules that we call by that title, 2011-2012. We are today toughening those rules, not for the first time, but for about the third. So this is we are proposing a set of further reductions in the amount of nitrate that landowners, land users in the Waimakiriri area and in South Canterbury will be entitled to discharge. I think that's appropriate. I think it's necessary. But it isn't as though we have been sitting idle, ignoring a problem for several years now. On the other hand, actually, a point Councillor Skelton made that I think is worth emphasising is the significance of recommendation 5.1. Actually, unusually, what we're proposing in terms of tougher limits will have immediate legal effect, even though what we're proposing to do, what we call plans, the rules, the limits, will now be tested by public hearings in front of an independent hearing panel, which I think is entirely appropriate and is what we've done with all our sets of rules so far. One of the key issues in front of that independent panel will be not just are we going far enough, are we going fast enough, but what is the impact on those who will be affected, both land users and anyone who might be affected by the downstream environment. What's the impact of our proposals and of going faster or any alternative that's put up. One of the things one of the considerations that will almost certainly influence that issue is the fact that we are not proposing any compensation. We are simply requiring people to make changes as best they can in compliance with our proposal. And I support that with some sense of concern. I support it because we don't have any means of making it different. Councillor Roberts suggested the idea of a buyback. I think it's a wonderful idea. I'd love to be able to include this as part of the package. We're not, because we don't have the resources to do that. We costed some years ago in relation to similar proposals affecting the Selwyn catchment, what would be involved in a land purchase scheme, a buyback scheme in that area. And the answer was several $100 million. And that would be the answer here, and it would be the answer in South Canterbury as well. And it would probably be a figure in the order of billions of dollars if we were to propose a compensation arrangement across Canterbury as a whole in response to our rules. There have been buyback schemes at Taupo, but that's the only buyback scheme of any significance of which I'm aware. What we've been doing for the last decade is requiring landowners to reduce the amount of nitrate that they lose from what they plant or the animals that they raise, and absorb the costs of making those adjustments as they go. and I'm not arguing any differently, but it's because that's the nature of what we've asked people to do, or required people to do, that the independent hearings panel has said, very well, then the speed at which we can reasonably ask those adjustments to be made is whatever it is. So far, in terms of speed of adjustment, our proposals have always survived that independent analysis. I'm confident that these proposals will as well, but I'm pleased that they're going to be tested independently of social impact or economic, and so are the cultural ones. But that's the nature of the issue that we're requiring the independent panel to grapple with. I get, I'm afraid, irritated beyond measure at suggestions that we've either done nothing or are in some way beholden purely to economic considerations. Neither of those things is the truth. I've been very pleased, Mr. Chairman, to have set the motion in front of us.